Harine
पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री श्री राधा वृंदावन चंद्र की जय। श्री श्री निताई गौरंग की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। Okay, so today we are going to begin with a new chapter, 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So this chapter is a very wonderful chapter. Going to clear many of our doubts with regard to our normal functioning and normal thinking and so many paradigms we carry. So all this is happening, or rather all this understanding we are getting from the teachings of His Divine Grace Prabhupada, who has so mercifully given us the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in a very, very wonderful manner, in a way that we can understand and appreciate in our, at our level. Otherwise, Gita understanding is not easy. You may become a scholar of Gita, but you may not know the essence of Gita. So whereas Prabhupada, by his mercy, pure devotee, we are able to understand Bhagavad Gita and follow them in our lives. So we offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Prabhupada repeatedly. So this 17th chapter is called The Divisions of Faith, Shraddha Prabheda. And today we are going to discuss the first two verses from this chapter. So let's begin with the first verse. Arjuna Uvacha Ye Shastra Vidhim Utsrijya Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha Tesham Nishtatuka Krishna Sattvam Aho Rajastamaha. Translation. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? So the question which Arjuna is asking now to Krishna is a very significant one. In the previous chapter, 16th chapter, called the divine and the demoniac natures, Lord Krishna explained elaborately about two classes of beings: the divine nature beings who follow the scriptural directions, who are abiding by the rules and regulations as enjoined in the books of wisdom. And thus, Krishna assured that by doing this, they attain liberation. And there are other class of beings called the asuras, or the demoniac nature people, who do not follow any scriptural rules, regulations. They are unto themselves with their own rules, regulations. And they have manufactured rather their own God and their own way of worship and so many things. And because they are impelled by lust, anger, greed, Krishna mentioned that their destination is to go to hell. So this was what we understood in the previous chapter. Krishna also mentioned in the 16th chapter that the faithful followers of the scriptures are called the Devatas, or the divine, and the faithless, those who don't have faith on the scriptures, are called demoniac or asuric. And in the 23rd verse of previous chapter, Krishna mentioned, Ye Shastra Vidhim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakara. Those who do not believe in the scriptures, Shastra Vidhim Utsrijya, those who reject, or those who do not have any regard for the scriptural rules, regulations. They're acting whimsically. And Nasa siddham avapnoti. Krishna said that they'll not attain any perfection, they'll not get any happiness, and any such sort of the perfection which is supposed to be attained in the human form of life is not going to be achieved by such people. This is the conclusion which Krishna made. So, if you see this specific verse number 17th chapter, first verse, Arjuna is taking the sequence from the words which Krishna already has spoken. Krishna said, "E shastra vidim ustrujya vartate kamakarata." Arjuna is using the same words. "E shastra vidim ustrujya yajante shraddhayanvita." So, Arjuna's specific question is, maybe people don't follow the scriptures, but they may have some faith in some type of a worship, some type of a ritual, some type of a performance of some so-called activities, right? So Arjuna's specific question here is about the fate of those people who are not faithful to scriptures. What happens to them? What is the destination? Right? Because there are many people who are having different faiths. In the world, we see so many people of different faiths. There are so many religions, so many types of rituals, so many types of activities going on all over the world. Why this so many varieties? This is the important question most of us will have. Right? So Arjuna's question here is to understand, do people who are not worshipping you, Krishna, who are worshipping so many other things, what is their destination? Do they all come to you only finally? Or what happens to them? And basically, most of them are not following any scriptures. Scriptures means the directions given by Krishna himself. In the Bhagavata says, Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavat pranita. The direction given by Krishna himself, Lord Krishna himself, the rules, regulations, that becomes the dharma or the scriptural aspect of what we say as the dharma grantha or the dharma rules, regulations. Scriptures basically means the codes of law as enjoined by Lord himself, God himself. So there are people who don't follow any scriptural codes or the laws given by Krishna. What happens to them? So in response to this, Krishna explains about the various types of different faiths people have with regard to the food habits, with regard to different types of worship, different types of austerities they perform, different types of so many other activities, rituals they perform. All these things Krishna explains in this 17th chapter. What are these various things what we see around us? There's black magic. There is some kala jadoo. They say, what is that? And people worship sometimes big politicians. What is this? People worship big film stars. What is this? All this Krishna explains very nicely. Very interesting chapter. So basically, in 16th chapter, Krishna explained about two extremes, actually. One having scriptural faith, they are called devatas, divine. And one who don't have scriptural faith, they are called demoniac. Right? Now, in this chapter, actually, between this faithful and the faithless, there is a in-between spectrum. What is that spectrum? Because that is what mostly human society is filled with. That spectrum is what Krishna is going to explain in this chapter. That's what Arjuna is asking. what is this? Sometimes people don't have faith in scriptures or little faith in scriptures. So what is happening, Krishna? Are they in goodness, passion, or ignorance? That is Arjuna's question. So let's get into details of what Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, in the purport. Okay. So Prabhupada begins the purport by saying that in the 4th chapter, 39th verse, it is said that a person faithful to a particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfectional stage of peace and prosperity. That is a statement in the 4th chapter. Very nicely, Krishna explains that those who have proper faith in the performance of the rules regulations as enjoined in the scriptures, Krishna says, Shraddhava labhate jnanam tatparaha samyatendriyaha jnanam labdhva param shantim achirenati gacchati. So a person who is actually faithful in the transcendental knowledge given in the scriptures, he attains supreme spiritual peace. That's what Krishna explains. So Prabhupada is elaborating on that particular aspect, that a faithful person becomes elevated in the knowledge aspect and attains the perfection. Basically, peace and prosperity basically means that he is going to attain the spiritual world. So further, in the 16th chapter, Krishna concluded that one who does not follow the principles laid down in the scriptures is called an asura, demon. And one who follows the scriptural injunctions faithfully is called a deva or demigod. See how Prabhupada is building up the complete understanding from the entire Bhagavad Gita. What did Krishna say about Shraddha in 4th chapter? And just in the previous chapter, Krishna explained those who have faith in scriptures, they are called devatas. Those who don't have faith in scriptures, they are called asuras. Prabhupada is building up the whole subject matter in a wonderful manner. And further, now, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunctions, what is his position? That is what Arjuna's question is. Somebody who doesn't have any faith in scriptures, what will be his situation? Because in the 4th chapter, Krishna explained, one who has faith in the scriptures and performs his activities, then he will attain the supreme destination. And last chapter, Krishna explained, those who are faithful to the scriptures, they attain liberation. Faithless go to hell. And what about those people who have faith in something else, who don't follow scriptures? What happened to them? They're not completely faithless, like how this, something they're doing, some level. So what is their destination is the question of Arjuna. This doubt of Arjuna is to be cleared by Krishna. Or those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being. Excuse me. Or those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in goodness, passion, or ignorance. This is the point. Many times we see, at least in the modern society, that somebody is designated as God. Oh, he has become God. He became God. Or he did some meditation, he has become God. That, people have manufactured gods in the modern day. And they have created some gods. Prabhupada says God cannot be manufactured or created, or by meditation you don't become God. God is God always. And God is God by very birth, he is God. And that is the definition of God. Whereas modern day context, people, because they don't know what is God, they either imagine somebody to be God, or some powerful person as God, or somebody showing some mystic powers to be God, like this, they have mistaken idea about God. So Arjuna's question is basically based on that only, this aspect that, what happens to those people who have this mistaken understanding about God, who create some sort of God by selecting a human being or placing their faith in him. In what mode of nature they are in? Do such persons attain the perfectional stage of life? Very appropriate question. Because what happens to them? Do they really achieve the perfection, as Krishna explains in the other parts of the Gita? Is it possible for them to be situated in real knowledge and elevate themselves to the highest perfectional stage? See how nicely Prabhupada is analyzing. One question which Arjuna is asking, it has so many understanding, so much of meaning behind it. This is called the parampara understanding or the disciplic succession understanding. Because simply if you read Bhagavad Gita without the help of a pure devotee, you will not understand anything. Because very clearly it is mentioned in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita has to be understood with the help of a pure devotee. Otherwise, you will misunderstand Bhagavad Gita or will not understand Bhagavad Gita at all. Because the Bhagavad Gita knowledge is rahasya, or it is confidential. It is not to be revealed to anybody and everybody. You can simply read the text and other things, but the real import or the real meaning of the Bhagavad Gita is revealed to one who takes help of a pure devotee and tries to understand Bhagavad Gita in that way. That is the point. See, with just one question which Arjuna is asking, what happens to those people who don't follow the principles of scripture, but they are worshipping according to their own imagination? So what is their fate? That is the question which Arjuna is asking. Right. So specifically, Prabhupada is pointing out very nicely that what is the position of such a person who is not following any scriptural rules, regulations, but have some faith. And they create some sort of God by selecting a human being and by placing faith in them. Which mode of nature they are worshipping actually? Right? Do these people attain perfection of life? And can they come to the real understanding of what is knowledge? And they reach the highest perfectional stage? This is the questions. Because sometimes people say, whatever I'm following is correct. Because there's a popular propaganda, at least in India, by some spiritualists, so-called spiritualists, who say, yato mat tato pat. Whatever you follow, you'll reach that supreme destination. Anything you do, finally it will all reach the same goal. It's like you purchase a ticket for Ahmedabad, but you'll go to Bangalore. That is their understanding. Very wrong understanding. Because the path what you follow determines where you go. Because Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. If you worship Devatas, you'll go to Devata Loka. If you worship Yanti Devatam Devan, Pitrun Yanti Pitruvataha. He says, if you worship Pitras, you go to Pitru Loka. There's one Loka called Pitru Loka. All the forefathers who have not got liberation, they're all there. Our forefathers, our grandfather, our great-grandfather, maybe great-great-great-great-grandfathers who have not got liberation, they're all there waiting. When my descendants will offer some Pindadana, Shraddha ceremony, we'll get liberation. They are waiting. But we are so busy in our mobiles, internet, WhatsApp. We don't have time. Busy in television, busy in our own works. We don't even bother about forefathers. Right? The obligation of us on at least we perform devotion so they get liberated. So this is the point. So Pitraloka is there, and Prabhupada Krishna says, Bhutani yati bhutejya. Bhuta. There are so many spirits. There are spirits, the ghosts. There's a ghost world. If you worship ghost, you'll go to ghost world. Krishna says, if you worship me, you'll come to me. Worship Krishna, you'll come to Krishna Loka. So Arjuna's question is, by following these various rules, regulations, on their own without following scriptural rules, will they get highest perfection? Is the question. A very relevant question. Do those who do not follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but who have faith in something and worship gods and demigods and men, attain success in their effort? Simply, sometimes way of worship, anything and everything, whatever they want. So, there's so many, articles we see. There are temples made for some chief ministers, temples made for prime minister. No, who told them? I got inspired by the great work of our political leaders. So we have made a temple for that political leader. So all these imaginations, what will happen to them? Will they go to Krishna Loka or will they go to that political Loka, political leader Loka? Political leader, where he is gone, we don't know. He doesn't have in Loka anyway. He would have gone and taken some birth in some other species of life. But the poor worshipper or the fan is worshipping. What happens to them? This is Arjuna's question. Very relevant question, no? Because sometimes we see we have right to do anything. Right of speech, right of action, right of so many things. We have a lot of rights nowadays. Right. So what is that right? Actually, we don't have any right. Simply we claim we have right. We have zero right, actually. Completely bound by laws of nature. Daivi esha gunamayi momaya duratye. Every second we are bound by laws of nature, but we are thinking I am free. I have a lot of free will. Today I'll go out on the road. If I want, I can meet with an accident. That is not called freedom. That is called, bondage. You don't have that much intelligence. Right? Free will, freedom means you should not be bound by this cycle of birth, death, old age, disease. That is called freedom. Right? So like this, people don't have that proper sense to discriminate what is free will, what is that, what I'm doing. So like this, they go on in their life with so many things. So Arjuna is putting all these questions to Lord Krishna to elicit proper answers. So Arjuna is putting these questions to Krishna. Okay. So let's move forward with the next verse. Verse number 2, 17th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Trividha bhavati shraddha dehinam sa svabhavaja satviki rajasi chaiva tamasi cheti tam shunu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds: goodness, passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about these. So now Krishna is going to explain in detail about this question which Arjuna asked. It's a very wonderful question Arjuna has asked. See how intelligent Arjuna was. Right? So this question of Arjuna is actually very much relevant for our understanding. And it is going to open up a bigger understanding of the different types of performances and the different types of practices people are following across the world. Right? Why people have faith in this, faith in that, the ritual, that ritual, this austerity. Sometimes people say blind faith. There's I think most of you know, there is one movie recently released with based on the South Canara side. So one movie was made. What is that movie name? Very famous it has become. Really don't get the name. Anyway, so whether it is all talking about,
It is called Kantara.
Kantara. Yes, very nice, very important. So it is a movie. Actually, I was just, we were discussing, our devotees were discussing about the review of that. It is based on some blind faith which people have. It's not a blind faith, it's the faith which they have with regard to the various practices which they have been following from age-old system. And I think faith in Lord Varaha, something like that. So that is made into a movie, and how it is portraying the modern setup or modern education is all giving us understanding why we should have faith in this, that, and all these things. So it's a very nice. I heard it's a very good movie with regard to displaying the Indian culture, Indian strong roots about various different practices which we have. Anyway, just to tell you how even now these movies based on the cultural roots become very famous very soon.
Yes.
Okay, just like the Ramayana even now is evergreen, or Mahabharata serials, even now it is evergreen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move forward with the second verse. So Krishna is telling, according to the modes of nature. So what is modes of nature? Modes of nature is the energy of Krishna working, the Maya energy of Krishna working in this material world and influencing all of us in every aspect of our life. It influences our thinking, feeling, understanding, our intelligence, the way we function. Everything is influenced. We understood this in 14th chapter. Now again, Krishna is going to open up this topic of three modes. In fact, 17th chapter and 18th chapter is full of three modes only. How three modes are influencing various aspects: our work, our way of seeing things, and austerities, what we do. Everything is in three modes. Right? The three modes: Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna. And these various faiths, what you see, is because of the influence of these modes. When people come under the influence of these modes, because the living entity coming in the material world means he comes under the influence of these three modes. Krishna explains in the 7th chapter, Tribhir Gunamayer Bhaver Evi Sarvam Idam Jagat Mohitam Nabhijanati Mamebhya Paramavhyayam. So Krishna says the entire creation of this, of this whole material world is influenced by the three modes. Tribhir Gunamayer Bhaver. Right? Everybody is under the influence or the spell of the three modes of nature. Nobody can be beyond this influence. Krishna confirms this next chapter, 18th chapter. From Brahma down to the insignificant entity on this whole creation, everybody is influenced with the three modes. Right? Three modes are the powerful energy of Krishna. Daivi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya. Nobody can surpass the influence of the three modes because it is Krishna's energy acting on us. It is like the binding energy, which is making us, think, act, feel in a particular fashion, in a particular way, because we want to forget Krishna. Krishna bhuliya ji bhogavancha kare. When you want to forget Krishna, the one more energy of Krishna acts on us, that is called Mahamaya. Whereas when you want to remember Krishna, want to be under the shelter of Krishna, one more energy of Krishna acts, it is called Yogamaya. It's called internal energy, Daivi Prakriti. Mahatmanastu Maham Partha Daivi Prakriti Mashrita. Krishna says in 8th chapter. But when you want to become devotee of Krishna, the energy what acts is the internal energy or the Daivi Prakriti or the Yogamaya energy. Whereas when you want to forget Krishna, the energy what acts is called Mahamaya. The Durga Shakti acts on us. The punishing energy. The punishment energy which is going to punish you like anything. So this is the difference. So now Krishna is telling, according to the modes one has acquired with the three, by being embodied in this material world, the faith can be of three types. Faith in the mode of goodness, faith in the mode of Satviki, Rajasi, Tamasi. Goodness, passion, or ignorance. Now Krishna explains elaborately the different types of faiths which people have and different types of various activities with those faiths which they perform. Okay, so let's understand what Prabhupada says in the purport. Very interesting. Those who know the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but out of laziness or indolence, give up following these rules and regulations, are governed by the modes of material nature. Very nice, aspect, which we have understood already in the 14th chapter. Actually, when you are performing devotional service, or devotional service means what? Directions as given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, you follow them as much as possible, then you are above the modes. Mam cheva vibhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. In 14th chapter, last verse, Krishna says, when you are following the bhakti yoga or the different activities of devotional service, then you transcend the modes. Saguna samatityaitan. Just like in the ordinary understanding of a normal citizen, because he is abiding with the rules, regulations of the government is not bothering him with constantly monitoring or anything like that. Whereas one who is violating the rules and regulations, he'll come under the strict rules of the government known as the police force. Right? So those who follow scriptural rules, regulations, for them there is no problem. It's all they are working towards the path of liberation. But there are people whom we understood in the previous chapter, those who know the rules, regulations, but out of laziness or indolence, means they want to do their own things, just because they know, but they don't want to follow. So those who do like this, they come under the modes of material nature. That's what Prabhupada is saying to tell us here. So, according to their previous activities, in the modes of goodness, passion, or ignorance, they acquire a nature which is of a specific quality. So what we are going through in our present day situation or present day life is not simply that we have been made like this now. No. It is the carry forward nature of our cumulative action-reaction cycles of many, many lifetimes. This is called law of karma. Law of karma is acting in all our lives so delicately, so meticulously. The type of body you're going to get, type of mentality you're going to get, type of various activities which is going to happen in your life is all because of the laws of karma. Laws of karma are very, very accurate. These are the laws of karma, the impersonal way Lord is controlling the entire material world. Because there are so many entities who want to lord over or want to be independent of Lord. So there is no law governing them, then there will be too much of chaos. The Lord has a law called law of karma for those entities who are disobeying the laws of Krishna. Okay? And they're all governed by the laws of karma, and they're all interacting or having the various interplay in that way, in this whole material creation. And laws of karma are the subtle laws which are very intricate in everybody's life. Why a person is suffering now, or why a person is enjoying now, or why he is going through some tribulation, etc., etc. Not easy to ascertain or come to some, we cannot come to a logical conclusion why it is so. Right? Why a person is looking like this, or a simple question of why I am born as a male. You will not have an answer for that. One of my parents gave birth. Why your parents gave birth to you, a male only? Why are you looking like this only? Why you are born to that parents only? So many questions, you will not have answer. That is called law of karma. The laws of karma are in fact, Krishna says, Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayopi atra mohita. Even the greatest kavi or the greatest learned scholars, they are also bewildered to understand what is happening in one's life, why some good things are happening, bad things are happening. To ascertain and come to some proper logical conclusion is not easy. That is called laws of karma. So our present activities, what we are going through, or present type of faith what we have, present type of some convictions what we have, some determinations what we have, is all not simply because of present life. It is all carried forward from our previous life. So Prabhupada is telling, according to their previous activities in the modes of different, goodness, passion, ignorance, they acquire a nature with a specific quality. Each person is of one specific quality because of the acquired modes of nature from his previous life. The association of the living entity with the different modes of nature has been going on perpetually since the living entity is in contact with material nature since time immemorial. This we have understood in our previous discussions, right? So the living entity has been associating with the different modes of nature in so many lifetimes, millions of lifetimes. Perpetually, it is going on. So in that way, we have been acquiring different types of natures. Nature means one type of a mentality we have acquired now. Thus, he acquires different types of mentality according to his association with the material modes. Right? But this nature can be changed if one associates with a bona fide spiritual master and abides by his rules and the scriptures. Very significant point Prabhupada is making here. The human form of life has this special power of discrimination. Whatever your background may be, whatever nature you have acquired from your previous lives, it doesn't matter. But if you associate with a bona fide spiritual master, a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, Prabhupada, what happens? Associate and also follow the rules, regulations. Then what happens? Then the nature what you have acquired will change. The classic example of this is when Prabhupada went to America. The beginning days, if you see, those very hippies were all drug addicts and addicted to many sort of nasty habits. How? By associating with Prabhupada and following what Prabhupada is telling, they were gradually transforming or changing to nice devotees. Just follow whatever pure devotee is telling and association. This is what Shukadeva Goswami mentions in the Bhagavad. Even the most abominable species of humans, or the aborigines, or the most very downtrodden species of humans, Kirata, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, all of this are described like they are distanced, or they are very they have distanced of themselves from the Vedic culture. Even they, when they associate with a pure devotee, they will acquire or they will revive their actual nature of the soul and start becoming nice devotees. Prabhupada went to Africa, Prabhupada went to Australia, wherever Prabhupada went, his power of association was so strong that people who didn't have any background of, the mentalities were different, their faiths were different, their understanding were different, and they all surrendered to Krishna just by word of Prabhupada, just by association of Prabhupada and following rules, regulations. This is what Prabhupada's power is. The pure devotees' power is. This is what whole Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is talking about. The power of association. The power of association with spiritual personalities. Pure devotee association, holy name association, prasadam association, Bhagavad Gita sound vibration association. All this is so powerful that anybody coming in touch, they get electrified or they get purified. It's like a live wire. You catch, you get the current passing through you. That's what it is. The spiritual potency from this, powerful personalities, pure devotees, holy name, and all these wonderful, merciful incarnations of Krishna are so potent that simply associating with these, one's mentality will change. You may be under different modes. You may be under very low modes, but you will get transformed. You'll get association, and you will get purified. That's the point. Gradually, one can change his position from ignorance to goodness, or from passion to goodness. Just like most of us before before becoming seriously practicing what is said in Bhagavad Gita, we were having our own faiths, our own followings, our own mentalities, for that matter. Mentality means one type of a faith what we are following based on our own understanding. I was worshipping this, I was following that, I did this, I did that. Right, but after coming in touch with Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's movement, his devotees, we have changed. So Prabhupada says, gradually one can change his position. Earlier I used to eat meat, I used to drink, I used to smoke, I used to do that, I used to do this. I'm not doing any of them. Because all of them are all in the mode of ignorance, mode of passion. That's what Prabhupada says. So when you associate with a pure devotee and follow what he's telling, then whatever nature you have, whatever mentality you have developed because of whatever previous karma, all that is washed off. And you get a new life. That is called initiation, Diksha. Diksha means Divya Jnana Kshapayati. You are given transcendental knowledge and all your previous lifetimes, various mentalities burnt out. You begin a new life. That's the point. So this is what is happening with most of us when we associate with Prabhupada and his movement. The conclusion is that blind faith in a particular mode of nature cannot help a person become elevated to the perfectional stage. It's simply, I believe this, I like to do this, will not help us, to reach any perfection. Perfection means to come out of the cycle of birth and death. One has to consider things carefully with intelligence in the association of a bona fide spiritual master. This is what Prabhupada gave the opportunity to all of us through his wonderful movement. The movement which he has built, worldwide movement, is basically to help us to come to this, to have this association. That's why the movement what Prabhupada has built, Prabhupada is named it as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. A society wherein there are people, like-minded people who would like to cultivate their devotional consciousness, revive their actual spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. They can come together and practice and move forward. That is what Prabhupada's whole intention was. So in this movement, Prabhupada has given so many wonderful activities, and he has given us so many teachings that we can consider everything with intelligence, carefully. And in the association of devotees, we can change our mentality. That is the whole purpose of this movement. Because we will have so many natures, so many mentalities because of our past, previous lives. But all those mentalities actually will not lead us to any perfection. If we go on following those, it will be simply, it will not lead us to any perfection. Just like, I believe that by taking this ticket, which is actually written Bangalore, I'll go to Calcutta. I mean, that is wrong. That is your wrong belief. It's your blind faith. So like that, we have so many belief systems, so many wrong understandings, misconceptions going on in our understanding. But what is the purpose of life? Where is that I'm supposed to be moving forward in my journey of life? We don't know. In fact, frankly speaking, at least in my case, with whatever faith and understanding which I had before I came in touch with Prabhupada's movement, it was totally vague. No proper clarity with regard to what I'm supposed to be doing in life. So like that, whereas when you come in touch with Prabhupada's movement, things change. We get clarity. We get so much of proper direction with regard to what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. So Prabhupada concludes this purport by telling, thus one can change his position to a higher mode of nature by considering things carefully with intelligence in the association of a bona fide devotee. So this is what we are trying to do in our discussions in Bhagavad Gita sessions, that we consider things carefully with intelligence. Otherwise, simply we may discuss so many things are there to go on debating and trying to understand. But what is that relevant to our life? What we're supposed to be discussing? The Bhagavad Gita understanding. So consider things carefully with intelligence in the association of pure devotee like Prabhupada is what is changing our way of perception. Otherwise, we'll be going through one type of a mentality, like how people are having different types of faith in this material world. And all of them think what they're doing is correct, but it is not a fact. So you have to understand that people of different types of faith are there because of their own previous karma, because of their own previous, their own upbringing. They have got acquired a particular type of a nature. But whatever that nature is, the association of a pure devotee and following the rules regulations given by a pure devotee will change that mentality to a better purpose or a higher purpose. Otherwise, will be one of the modes. Modes means again the influence of material nature, and you're in bondage. That's the meaning. So with this, I conclude today's session. If anybody has anything to ask, discuss, clarify, comment, I'll open the platform.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. In my case, I right from my childhood that there was a quest to know about the purpose of life and what we are here for. But I had not got the real understanding or whatever the beginning of understanding until I came in touch with Srila Prabhupada's books and teachings. So I'm extremely grateful to Srila Prabhupada because it appealed to me in a way that I could understand in English language, the way I could understand. And so I'm extremely grateful to Srila Prabhupada and all his followers like you who are helping us understand the various teachings so well.
Yeah. The greatness of Prabhupada's teachings, that if you are little sensible and little, just inclined to know what is the actual truth, then Prabhupada will help us all the way. Just that we have to be a little more sincere to know. I'm seeking for the truth. I want the truth. I want the truth. That is the seeking. Then Prabhupada is the right person, because I know many people who are following so many things before they came in touch with Prabhupada, following that ashram, this mission, that mission, this following, that following. But when they came to Prabhupada, actually they got the right shelter.
Yes.
And all their various questions, which otherwise nobody could answer, Prabhupada's teachings gave them the right answer. Very sensible and very logical, reasonable, and convincing answers. Otherwise, anything you are following, simply it is your own, your own nature, mentality is driving you. Many times, at least I have met many times people, they're all driven by some conviction, and they go on arguing with regard to whatever they're driven by. They also don't know what they're doing, because they are, as Krishna says in 3rd chapter, now when you are under the modes of nature, you're helplessly driven with a particular mode to act in a particular way. So sometimes people, they're just carried away with their own type of one type of understanding and conviction, and think that is what is the highest, that is what is the ultimate. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita author says that the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the wonderful incarnations along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are so great and so wonderful that you please consider with full logic, full deliberation, full intelligence, and you see when you properly deliberate on this, that and the mercy is so wonderful, because we are not qualified. We are totally, in one sense, not having any sort of even a small trace of, qualification, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy and Prabhupada's mercy were able to understand these things. Recently, in Vrindavan, there was a Bhagavatam class Maharaj was taking. He was telling how even to understand what is Vedanta Sutra, understanding is so difficult. Madhvacharya has written a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra to understand. And even that Madhvacharya's commentary is so difficult that later on Acharya called Jayatirtha Acharya. He again commented on Madhvacharya's commentary. And all the Madhva scholars even now finding it difficult to even understand what is there in Jayatirtha the Acharya's commentary. That is the complexity of Vedanta Sutra. And Prabhupada has so mercifully given us the understanding of Vedanta Sutra in the form of Bhagavatam purports. And Bhagavad Gita is nothing but the presentation of Vedanta Sutra only. The whole Bhagavad Gita, if you see, very beginning, the very first page, if you open, Prabhupada writes, to Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushana, who presented so nicely the Govinda Bhashya commentary on Vedanta philosophy. The whole Bhagavad Gita is actually Krishna is speaking on Vedanta philosophy. And in fact, the very first introduction that Prabhupada has given is the summary of what Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushan has given us. So like this, the revelations which Prabhupada has given us is, beyond our, thinking. It's like, we are totally, disqualified, unqualified. But Prabhupada is showing so much of mercy by so nicely in a simple language explaining to us everything, the truths, the highest truths. Just see the 17th chapter. What did we understand today? Very simple. Because we understood now. Arjuna is asking a question. What happens to those people who don't have faith in scriptures, who are, just following whatever they want, in what modes they are in? Krishna says, because all of us are under the influence of modes, they are influenced by these modes and therefore have different types of activities. I'll explain to you in detail. This is what Krishna is telling. So this understanding is so simple, but the big scholars or thinkers and philosophers, they can't get into the mystery of this understanding. They comment in their own way. Just like Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj used to give example. The honey bottle is inside the honey bottle. The honey is very, very sweet and very nectarian. But if you go on licking outside the bottle, whatever you lick, can you taste the honey? Never. That's what this speculators, thinkers, or ourselves, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we're doing. We're licking the honey bottle only. We're not actually putting our hand inside the bottle and taking a dip and tasting the sweet nectarian honey. That's what Prabhupada is making us taste. A sweet nectarian honey of Krishna consciousness. Right? So the complete Vedanta is given in a very simplistic manner, in our easily understandable manner to us by Prabhupada. We have to be very, very grateful to Prabhupada. Ever grateful. Janme Janme Prabhu say. Life after life. Right? That is the point. So nice point you brought out, Srilaji. Thank you for that. Any other comment or question?
Please explain this law of karma and loss of karma. I'm not able to get.
Acha, law of karma and loss of karma.
Yeah, please.
Both are same. Loss of karma. Okay. Loss of karma means, Newton's law, no? The very famous Newton's law. Remember, in schools we studied. Third law of Newton. Every action has equal and, please tell. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. So, Newton has, we call it as Newton's law, but Newton didn't make that law. He only discovered that law, right? Because he discovered that law is named after him. Like that, many laws, what we see, which is named after a scientist, nobody made that law, first thing. The law of gravitation, and so many things, they are not made by any scientist. They are all discovered by the scientist. Means this law exists in the world. They are all functioning. But who made that law? If you ask them, scientists, nature made that law. So what is nature? They'll not have answer. Krishna says, nature is my energy, Krishna says. In 9th chapter, what does Krishna say? Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Means, under my superintendence, the material nature is working. Everything what is going on in the material nature is under my direction, Krishna says. Which means nature is not working independently, it is working under the complete supervision of Krishna. Which means Krishna is not seen immediately, he is remotely there. Right? He is remotely there. But because we are so covered by these modes densely, clouds are covering our vision, we are not able to see Krishna. Krishna has purposely made it like that. I am behind, but you cannot see me. I will not show you. I will not be seen to you. Unless you your eyes are opened by devotional practice. So this is about the way Krishna is working in the material world. So specifically coming to laws of karma. See, each of us in the material world are all in the material world because we want to dominate in the material world. We want to lord over in the material world. We want to enjoy our senses to the maximum extent. That is our mentality right now. Every one of us. Each of us have this intrinsic mentality within us. How I can exploit things, how I can manipulate things, how I can see that things are for my best interest. If everybody starts exploiting, manipulating, what happens? Then there's a intense fight, fierce competition, and there's a lot of you can say the whole world will be chaotic. Just like when you see sometimes, at least in Delhi NCR, you have seen sometimes there are traffic jams, and everybody is trying to they're all trying to they want to somehow take something and some route and want to somehow some space and want to get out from that place. Everybody want to do that, and that is creating one more jam. Right? So like that. So the traffic rules is basically to facilitate and streamline all this, everybody's intense desire to move faster and go, very, I want to reach earlier. All these things are streamlined through the traffic rules regulations, right? So basically laws of karma means all of us having this mentality of trying to enjoy this material world independently, exploit this material world. These are all our present natures. This Krishna has explained in the very beginning in all these chapters. This is our mentality. So in order to streamline and see that you will be getting what you deserve, you will not get more than that. Krishna has designed what is known as subtle laws, known as laws of karma, which means based on the activities what you do, you will get the results. Now somebody is going in a simple car, Alto, Maruti Alto. Somebody next to him is in a big Mercedes Benz. So person in Alto will think, oh, see, he's having a big car. He may think only, but what can he do? He cannot do anything. Right? In the same train, we have general class, sleeper class, 3 AC, 2 AC, 1 AC. Why so much divisions? Can anybody answer? Sanjalji, why? The same train, so much compartments, why government has to do? One class was good enough, no?
To give facility to everyone. To give facility to everyone.
Everybody is same, no? Human beings only. Why general class?
According to financial power.
According to the financial power.
Higher classes, people who afford can go to sit in higher classes, or People who don't afford, they sit on the lower class.
Why people have different financial abilities? Why do you think everybody, government can give
Because
everybody?
of their ability, because of the karma, because of the resources they have.
You tell me why so many classes? Why not only one class? Classless society.
Who
That's
have
what
paid
communists
more?
want.
Who have paid more?
West Bengal wants that classless society. They fought for so many years. Finally, they were not successful. Okay, communists. So
Yeah.
Each-
Whoever is
each one,
paying more,
Prabhu-
Prabhuji, they are going to get more benefits and more
Yes.
facilities.
People who have resources, who have done the karmas, good karmas, who they have accumulated
good
good
karma means
resources.
you get
Not
first
good
class.
karma. No. At least for
They
AC,
have
at least for train.
resources with-
No good karma.
So those who don't those who have not done very good karma, they'll be in general class. Bad karma.
They won't have
Bad karma
resources.
people are like general class people are bad karma people. So people traveling in AC class are good karma people. That's what you mean to say?
Strength of pocket. Just strength of pocket.
Okay. So like this, there are so many questions. I'll ask you some tough questions. It'll be difficult for you to answer. When you go to
Prabhuji,
any,
each one wants to enjoy the same ride in a different
see,
way.
if a general class person is given a first class compartment, will not travel there. In that,
Yeah,
you will definitely happily travel.
definitely.
You will happily travel. But
Yes.
what to do? I cannot travel. But he's happy with what is not happy out of great hesitate, rather great, what to do? I can't. That is what my capacity is. I can travel in this. But sometimes TT comes and says, "Oh, aapka ticket dikhaiye." His ticket is general class, but is sitting in AC compartment. What TT will do?
You'll find him.
You will fine him and you throw him out if he doesn't pay the fine.
Yeah.
Right? So like that, the rules, even in our regular normal way of functioning, is so stringent. You cannot go here, you cannot go there, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. This is what your things are. So like that, this is just to facilitate. Fine. So based on your whatever you have paid, you will get the class. Similarly, whatever papa punya you have done,
Karmas I have done.
the cumulative total of papa punya is what is going to decide what you are going to enjoy and suffer. Okay. So Prabhupada explains very nicely in a book called Nectar of Devotion. I recommend you read that first chapter of that book. So very nicely Prabhupada explains this. There are so many things in everybody's life. When you do some activity, they're all deposited as what is known as bija or seeds. These seeds in our life are all slowly growing. In our life, for so many lifetimes, it has been growing. Some are in the plant stage, some are in the tree stage, some are in the stage of giving fruits. Actually, what we are enjoying, suffering now, is all the fruits of so many seeds which we have planted many lifetimes ago.
Yes.
So the way you're looking, the beauty you're having now, or the type of comforts you're enjoying now, or even for that matter, recently I was reading Prabhupada selling in Krishna book. If you're able to chant Hare Krishna, associate with devotees, which means you've done so much of piety in your previous lives, not only one life.
Lives.
So not easy. So, which means the laws of karma are so stringent and so accurate, so perfect that you may think, you may not know why it is happening, but it is all because of your previous various activities which you have done. Right? So Kunti Maharani very briefly says in Bhagavata 4 things. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri. Your birth, your wealth, then your education and your beauty. These 4 things, these 4 aspects in anybody's life is all determined by laws of karma. If you are born in a very rich family, which means Krishna says in 6th chapter, you must have done some very good pious activity. And Krishna, because of your unfinished spiritual journey, Krishna has given you again chance. Sometimes we see children born in very good devotee families because somehow that soul didn't complete the journey of spiritual life fully. So Krishna has given one more opportunity. Take birth in the devotee family. How do you explain all these things otherwise? It's not simply, automatically or by chance. Nothing happens by chance. Everything has a reason. And the reason is Krishna is actually, he's the, he's Sutadar. See, he is only awarding the results of your activities or your way of desiring things. Krishna is only awarding those results. If you desire to perform devotion, that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja. If you give up everything, all your so-called responsibilities, activities, just surrender to me, I will square up all your karma, all karmas. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will give you moksha. Prabhupada says in many places, it is very easy to burn up all our karmas simply if you surrender to Krishna. It will not take one second for Krishna to burn your karmas. But we are not ready. We don't want to surrender. We have our own mentality, our own thinking. That's why Krishna says, Ma suchaha, don't worry. Why are you worried? I will take care of you. But we are worried. What will happen to my husband, my children, my that, my this, my property? Worried, so much worried. That is our problem. Krishna says, why are you worried? Don't worry, surrender to me. Our worry is so much. We are worried whether Krishna will actually give protection to us. Oh, I doubt. That is our worry. So we don't have faith. That's the problem. So the loss of karma will be under loss of karma as long as we don't develop faith in Krishna and his pure devotees. So loss of karma are impersonal laws governing every living entity in the material world to fulfill their different terms of imprisonment and continue another term of imprisonment based on what activities he does now, next life after life. They're all laws, just like traffic rules is there to facilitate the movement of the vehicles in a very smooth manner. So Krishna has made laws of karma that, all of you don't fight. There is no chaos. Each of us, you are somehow settled. Like, a person is settled in his mind, what to do, this is what it is. Today we are reading in Bhagavata how you are forced. It's like, Bhagavatam, I'll just take out that particular statement in this in third canto, wherein it is very nicely mentioned how the laws of nature are so nicely acting. Because in the child's body, child is actually going through so much of suffering in the womb. The worms are biting, mother is eating some pungent food, salty food. Mother wants to eat nicely, but doesn't know that delicate child inside the womb is suffering. So that's why the Vedic regulations are mother has to eat food which is going to be favorable to the child, because everything what mother eats, that food is actually taken care, or it is all going to the child. Inside the child is actually consuming it through the intestine. So Bhagavatam says very nicely that for the child to remain in that position is very difficult, because the consciousness is not very developed. The child is simply tolerating all these things. Otherwise, he will die. This is the benediction of Maya, who endows a suffering body with the qualifications for tolerating such terrible tortures. This is what Prabhupada says. Which means the delicate body of the child is so, going through so much of suffering. Now, Bhagavatam says, if he is fortunate, he'll remember all the 100 lives, previous lives, what all he has done. Nonsense. And he's praying to Krishna, oh, again, don't give me birth. This is my last birth. After I come out, I will only surrender to you. This is a prayer he offers. But once he comes out, again forgets. Mummy, Papa is kissing, fondling the child so much that he forgets. This is the problem. So, Maya is acting in such a way that she's making us forget and what to do, tolerate. General class, I have to travel, tolerate. This is what I am supposed to be doing, tolerate. And we go on life after life, tolerating. You don't know this tolerance with regard to, our own life, or what we are supposed to be rather intolerant with regard to, which is not our spiritual nature. This material body is an embarrassment for the spirit soul. This we don't know. But this body is loss of karma. The whole Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam is explaining about loss of karma. Okay. So anyway, it's a big subject matter. I just gave you some hints. The very body of God is because of law of karma. And whatever you're going through in your life now is because of law of karma. Every moment to moment. But when you perform devotional service, you're immediately out of law of karma. Okay. So I think I've taken a lot of time. I'll close now. We will continue next week.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.